My name is Kimberly Thomas, and I'm calling from Bakersfield, North Carolina. So, Annie, my first question is, why glass? Most specifically, I was looking at the piece with the pig and the human fetuses inside, and it's like an artificial kind of like sci-fi type of imagery. Do you think that making these works out of glass would dilute the meaning of the piece? My second question for you is, why are you interested in flame working? You took a class with me, and you could kind of have picked any way of working with glass, but you chose flame working. So I wanted to know how that really related to your practice.
Hi, Kim. Oh my gosh, it's so great to be in conversation with you. Thank you for being such an amazing teacher. I still vibrate with the energy of our class together. I love glass so much. I don't have nearly as much experience in glass as I would like, and I hope to spend the rest of my life working on it. But it was one of those things like falling in love. The first time I took a class and stood in front of the flame and tried not to burn myself, I just loved it. Like my heart pounded, my palms sweat, and I felt like just so in the moment. I am someone who just tends to be really anxious and my mind goes in circles all the time. But when I'm working with glass, I have to be present. And I love that. It is this intense dance where you have to be mindful of so many components at the same time, or else it just cracks or explodes. I love the way it looks and feels. I love the experience of making it and working with glass. Trained as an architect, I used a lot of tools that just happened to use a lot of plastic, like laser cutting, CNCing, 3D printing. A lot of this is very heavy in plastic. In my work recently, I've started to really develop a new relationship to plastic. I really want to avoid it. I really want to think about its lasting impact and how forever these things are. When I started working with glass, it just, everything clicked into place. I was like, oh, there's another way to create these kind of transparent metaphors that don't require me to work with plastic. The first iteration I made actually was out of a plastic bag with sonogram gel. It was like a plastic bag and sonogram gel. And I was trying to quickly in my studio get the feel. And so after making a lot of prototypes with sonogram gel and basically plastic bags, I needed to make it more kind of shelf stable. Even then, I was thinking a lot about glass because it's very expensive to 3D print something of that scale and transparent. So I was looking also at vacuum forming. I was looking at making a mold to have someone blow glass into. I would love to remake that piece in glass because I'd be curious as to what it would look like. It's funny because I've done work about it because I think about it a lot. Like the difference between, for instance, molding something in clay. Like I had a very traditional arts education to some extent as an undergraduate where I learned how to figure sculpt in clay with my hands. And there's a kind of immediacy to it, right? Like if I'm in a bad mood, you can see the depth of those marks. And then when I went to architecture school, if I was in a bad mood, maybe I would click that mouse a little harder, but still the line would be perfectly straight. And I was thinking a lot about like, how do those kind of digital tools mediate and transform and translate the mark of the hand? Because despite that we all use similar keyboards and mice, there were definitely classmates of mine who made beautiful CAD drawings and they had a delicacy to them. And they were also the clumsy me, like where my drawings weren't always so beautiful and delicate. And we're all using the same tools. So there is still kind of a mark of a hand. You can still kind of tell sometimes, oh, this architectural drawing that is extremely technical and made on AutoCAD comes from this firm versus that firm. With that piece, I'd be so curious. So I've made it now with digital tools, but what would it be like for me to try to make the whole thing through flame working or a combination of flame working and casting? I love seeing the kind of like clumps and drips, like when I'm not turning consistently enough and you see things gather in one place. I love that. I love, just like when I look at paintings, I love seeing the accidental drip or the thumbprint. So I'd be so curious because I think it would look totally different. And I think it would have a totally different feeling, even though the concept remains the same. So I'm excited to get good enough to try to make it in glass. And then why flame working? Flame working really hits the spot and is so dear to my heart because as a mom, I don't have a lot of time. And so it's hard for me to coordinate with someone to go to the hot shop together or to need more than two hands. So I think for me, flame working is at a scale that is manageable. It's intimate. So this is like kind of embarrassing, but I'm also kind of really afraid of fire. And so maybe this is the scale of flame that I can tolerate. I like that it allows me to work independently enough. At this moment in my life, things that are intimate in scale work the best for me, even though like there's, I feel like infinite possibilities in front of that torch, which is so exciting.
Thanks for checking out this GEEX Shorts episode. This is just one of 10 chapters featuring the speaker's artwork, artistic practice, and direct conversations with the community. The full-length video, only publicly available for a limited time, can be found in the GEEX Talks subscriber archive, where you can also discover hours of content on even more contemporary glass artists and researchers. As a BIPOC and artist-led organization, GEEX redefines the culture of contemporary glass by canonizing artists and thinkers who have been historically marginalized in the field. If you'd like to support this effort, subscribe to GEEX and gain access to exclusive content. For more info, visit geeks.glass/support.